I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Okay, first clip, let me show you the newly appointed Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries. Let's see him lay out the Democratic agenda. Play the clip.
Stand on the shoulders of people like Shirley Chisholm and so many others as we work to advance the ball for everyday Americans and get stuff done. Because that's what Democrats do. That's what our record says. Each and every day, House Democrats committed to fighting hard for working families, middle-class folks, those who aspire to be part of the middle class, young people, seniors, immigrants, veterans, the poor, the sick, the afflicted, the least, the lost, and the left behind. House Democrats fight for the people. That's our story, that's our legacy, that's our values, that's our commitment as we move forward. Get stuff done. Make life better for everyday Americans. We look forward to finding opportunities to partner with the other side of the aisle and work with them whenever possible. But we will also push back against extremism whenever necessary. We love this country. We love our democracy. Love the Congress and the House of Representatives, the institution designed to be the closest to the people. And we're going to fight hard each and every day we have this honor to serve in Congress to deliver.
Okay, and now let me play you a clip of the Republican House leader who is trying desperately but doesn't have the votes to become the Speaker of the House, the desperate and really sad figure in Kevin McCarthy, the Republican leader in the House of Representatives. Play the clip of Kevin McCarthy laying out the Republican agenda. Play the clip.
The investigative work now that you have the power of subpoena and the power of the purse.
Sean, I do. I'm very honored to have more than 85% of the conference vote for me. That's like winning the primary. Who wins by 85%? So we're going to the floor. And I believe we'll get to 218. Why? Because if we don't, none of those investigations go forward. None of the work that we have put before us. We can't start investigating Mayorkas. We can't secure the border. We can't lower the gasoline price by making us energy independent. We can't give a government and hold them accountable. We can't pass a parent's Bill of Rights. All of that will stop. The subpoenas can't move out until you elect a speaker. So I believe we will all come together because, Sean, you're right. We need to do this for the American people. We either are successful together or we will fail individually, and we will not be given the possibility or the opportunity to be in the majority again.
With us.
You know, when Kevin McCarthy does not even have the votes to become the Speaker of the House, a job he's desperately wanted and was willing to sacrifice all of his dignity. He was willing to sacrifice the country, sacrifice our democracy to try to become the Speaker of the House. And even people who are more extremist MAGA cult members than him think that he is a phony. I mean, look, Kevin McCarthy is absolutely a phony, but they don't want him to be a leader. So he's trying to suck up to the most extremists within the MAGA extremist base. But you saw different agendas there, right? And to me, this is what I always talk about here on the MeidasTouch Network to the MeidasTouch community. What did you see Hakeem Jeffries talking about with the Democratic agenda? We had an adult in the room talking about delivering for the people, working for the people, coming up with solutions for the people. And that's what Democrats are focused on. And not just Democrats, but this coalition of pro-normal, this coalition of pro-democracy, this coalition of let's actually do something and have adults in the room. And this includes former Republicans who have left what is now the MAGA Republican Party, and independents and people who are not affiliated with any political party, and Democrats and progressives, and everybody just kind of coming together and saying, you know what, we need adults in the room, and we may disagree on certain aspects of policies, but can we please focus on jobs? Can we please focus on making workers' lives better? Can we please focus on making the small businesses work better? Can we please focus on bringing manufacturing jobs from overseas back to here in the United States? Can we focus on making education more accessible and affordable? And how about we focus on making healthcare more accessible and affordable? How about we lower prescription drug prices? How about we restore people's actual freedoms and fight for people's actual freedoms? Not this performative BS, MAGA extremist cult stuff, but real people's freedoms, like a woman's freedom over her body, the freedom of people to love and marry who they want to marry and love without the MAGA Republican cult government intruding into our lives, intruding into our doctor's offices, intruding into our bedrooms. Get the heck out. Look, these are things that Democrats are focusing on, delivering for the people. And as I say, there are some issues with Democrats I disagree with. I don't agree with Democrats on all of the issues, but what I do know is that Democrats have adults in the room who are fighting for policies that actually impact people's lives, and they are trying to make people's lives better. On the other hand, you've got these MAGA extremist Republicans who are today's Republican Party, who aren't talking about any policy whatsoever. These are people who support insurrections against our government. These MAGA Republicans support overthrowing our democracy. These MAGA Republicans brag about how much they love Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. I mean, it's just completely embarrassing. These MAGA extremist cult members, all they do is talk about overturning elections, and all they talk about is this election is rigged and that election is rigged and the 2020 election is rigged and every state election is rigged, even where it's run by Republicans. Those are rigged. Those are rhinos. Those aren't MAGA cultists. The Brazil election's rigged. The 2022 elections. I mean, it's just so embarrassing. You know, these MAGA Republican cultists, what are they fighting? They're fighting to spread a pandemic. They're fighting to convince us, even though millions of people have died from COVID, they're trying to act like it's not a real thing. I mean, they're literally pro-pandemic. It is one of the most absurd things to even think about. It's not like they even have a nuanced view of it, which was always like, you know, and a nuanced view could have been, you know what, does it make sense that a large department store is open, but a small business is being closed? Can we have a common sense policy that makes sure we're prioritizing people's health, but also we need to make sure that we're not treating this business differently than that business simply because that bigger business has better lobbyists or more influence in government? Like, that's a reasonable conversation to have, but that's not the conversation that MAGA Republicans are having. They're acting like the COVID pandemic was like not a real thing. It's so absurd, and they want to like spread it. It's like they root for it, and I find that just to be very, very, very strange and disturbing, and needs to be called out and condemned. You know, all they want to do is talk about these MAGA Republicans. All they want to do is talk about woke this, woke that, and they talk about book burning, and then they make up these weird fake controversies about the green M&M's legs, and Mr. Potato Head is getting them all worked up, and then Dr. Seuss is doing this, and, you know, and Disney's making this movie, and the movie reflects diverse characters, and and they talk about like diversity and inclusivity like it's like a bad thing, and how woke this is and woke that is. Like, what are you all talking about? Like, Stop trying to create these culture wars. Stop spreading medical disinformation. Stop trying to divide our country. Stop cheering on our nation's enemies like Vladimir Putin from Russia and Kim Jong-un. Stop being part of a cult. Stop posting QAnon conspiracy nonsense. And this goes to the media too. Stop both sidesing these issues. And the media is major problem and is to blame a lot for this, because you act like, oh, well, here is Hakeem Jeffries, here's the Democrat. Oh, and here's Kevin McCarthy. Let's let Kevin McCarthy go on our show, and let's just ask Kevin McCarthy a question and not actually challenge him and push back on any of his ideas. Let's just ask him a question and let him do these ridiculous talking points and then say, thank you, Kevin McCarthy, for just lying to us and just saying complete nonsense. I mean, like, these are not equal ideas or equal concepts. And it's not like, oh, well, let's just meet. There's extremism on both sides and whatever. No, I mean, the entire Republican Party believes in all of the things I mentioned before. And that is utterly absurd that we've gone to this place and we've been to this place in this country. But what I think is profoundly important is first that we have independent media like this where we're highlighting these issues, and more people are watching this than are watching the large media networks at this point. I mean, just look, don't go to their YouTube, but we get more views and more engagement here than they do. So that's important. But number two, I like this new leadership from the Democratic Party, which is really focused on that broad coalition that I told you about, which is actually fighting for the people. I like that Hakeem Jeffries said, look, this is what we're delivering for the people. Here's who we're fighting for. We're working for you. We're going to push back against extremism, but we are also going to make sure that we pursue an agenda that puts the people of this country first. And that is what is critical to what the Democratic agenda is. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 1 million subscribers with your support. And in addition, please consider becoming a patron of the MeidasTouch Network, because we're not funded by any outside investors at all. We purely are reliant on your generosity. And no worries if you can't, but become a member of the MeidasTouch community by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, wherever you are in the world. Join one of the membership tiers and let's grow this independent media platform together. And I know you'll love the exclusive content we have there. It's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.